Just wanted to talk, that's all.
What's up, everybody? Yankees going for the series win against the Red Sox tonight. I gotta say, I feel pretty good about tonight's game. There have been times where I didn't feel great, and there have been times when I felt great and the Yankees have let me down. But tonight, I really think the Yankees have a great chance to win this series. The Red Sox have handled the Yankees pitching in each of the first two games to a degree. Now, they've split the two games, but I think that's going to stop tonight. I think Carlos Rodon, who has been throwing the ball so well, and we'll talk about him more in depth in a minute, is going to be up for Sunday Night Baseball. And Hunter Dobbins, he's a rookie. He's pitching for the Red Sox. Right-handed pitcher out of Texas Tech. Pretty good slider. Throws a split-fingered fastball. Mid-90s fastball. I think it's interesting that he throws the splitter. You don't see a lot of American pitchers who come up throwing the splitter. A lot of times it's like the foreign guys. It's the Japanese guys especially. That's a pitch they throw over there more. In America, the youth a lot of times is taught don't throw that pitch because it's bad for your elbow. But, you know, studies have shown that actually the worst pitch for your elbow is the fastball. So who knows? But you will see college programs that institute, split finger fastballs, from time to time. But, he's a guy who, has had some success early on, but it'll be interesting to see how Sunday Night Baseball in Yankee Stadium, Red Sox, Yankees, how he responds to that challenge, right? I mean, this is going to be a tough ask, a heavy lift for a rookie. And I think Carlos Rodon, it's like, he's been there, done that. He pitched in the World Series, yada, yada, yada. Tonight, he's just going to try and continue that momentum that he's had over the last, couple of months now. But let's take a look at the lineup for tonight. And I see what they went with the beardless Rodon in the picture. I guess these pictures taken before the season. But Ben Rice in the leadoff spot at DH, a guy who has been hitting into some hard luck, but also hitting for a lot of power, putting up big numbers. Aaron Judge in the number 2 spot in right field. I have a great feeling about Judge tonight because he had such a bad day yesterday. It's rare that you see him have 2 really bad days in a row. So he's going to be, spoiler alert, part of my Nostraderic prediction today. Cody Bellinger in left field. Dominguez getting the day off against the righty, which is odd because he played against the lefty. He hits righties much better than he hits lefties. And we got a number of calls today about Aaron Boone. And just some of his perplexing lineup decisions, and this is one of them. The choice to play Dominguez yesterday versus today. I would have rather seen Trent Grisham yesterday, even though it was lefty on lefty. Austin Wells hit him well, and Austin Wells swung the bat well yesterday, but he is out today. J.C. Escar is catching Rodon, but I'll continue the lineup real quick. We got Goldschmidt batting fourth, first base, torpedo bat guy. Had some good success with it. We'll talk more about the torpedo bat when we get to Stanton later on. Jazz Chisholm at third base. He thinks that there should be more smack talk in baseball, and I got to say, I agree. Anthony Volpe back in there at shortstop tonight, coming back from that hit by pitch on his elbow a couple of nights ago. Obviously feeling better. Trent Grisham in center field. He has slowed down. He is moving more towards his career numbers in terms of batting average. Still a threat with power, but he seems to have cooled off significantly. Still a very good outfielder. DJ LeMahieu at second base tonight. He had a big hit last night to get the game close before the Red Sox kind of opened up a lead again in the top of the ninth. And then J.C. Escara catching Carlos Rodon. Those two seem to work really well together. So, hopefully good things continue for those two. But I want to talk a little bit about Carlos Rodon because he has been on a heater like you just don't see very often. Last 9 starts, 7-0, 56 2/3 innings, 1.27 ERA, and 70 strikeouts. On the season now, he is 8-3 with a 2.49 ERA, 98 strikeouts, and a whip under 1 at 0.93. That's less than a base runner per inning, and 79 2/3 innings pitched. You see the strikeouts way more than a strikeout per inning. So, we've seen a lot of people credit his success to his beard. And while I think that, having confidence in oneself does go a long way, I think it has a lot more to do with the confidence he has in diversifying his pitch repertoire. I think Matt Blake probably deserves a little bit of credit, and the pitching lab folks, for helping to develop this version of Carlos Rodon. I just watched his interview with Sherman and Heyman, and obviously Rodon's attitude is great. He's a guy who wants to constantly improve, but they seem to have just straight up rebuilt him as a pitcher, and not necessarily out of a need to do it like you do have sometimes, right? I mean, when somebody loses their stuff, let's think back to CC Sabathia, right? There were a couple of years there where CC was just terrible, but he reinvented himself. Mike Messina was a guy who had some bad years and then finished strong because he reinvented the way he went about pitching. He was always a pitcher, but once that fastball drops down to a point where it can get hit, you have to kind of pitch backwards some. Rodon hasn't lost his fastball. He's still throwing 95 to 97 miles an hour, but he's made the same adjustments as those guys have, right? I looked at what he's done the last couple of years, and it was almost all fastball slider, right? And the pitch mix right now is just so much more deadly, right? Because he's throwing the sinker, he's throwing the changeup. Last year it was just fastball upstairs, get a couple of foul balls, try and get somebody with a slider. That would lead to a lot of duels where it was a long at bat, where somebody's geared up for the fastball, maybe they're laying off the slider. And now he's getting deeper into games because he can be more efficient, because he's throwing the breaking ball or the sinker or the changeup early in the count. He's getting the strike, he's getting ahead, and that allows you to do more things, right? You have more ways to get a hitter out. The hitter still has to be ready for that 97, 98, even 99 mile an hour fastball from time to time. But you also have shown him a curveball, a sinker, a change. He's got to be ready for all these things, and he does not have a lot of time because he's got to gear up for that fastball. And that makes his slider more effective, right? Because you're geared up for that fastball. You got it on your mind like, okay, I've seen the changeup, I've seen the curveball, I haven't seen that 99 yet, I haven't seen that 98. Let me gear up for it, and then all of a sudden, boom, slider, done. Go back to the dugout. And, he continues to want to get better. He's made the physical changes in himself. He's adopted this new style, and it's revised my opinion on him 180 degrees. You remember when he was first up with the Yankees and he was getting shelled, we kept saying, this guy needs a changeup. He just flat out needs a changeup. He needs a third pitch. I remember so many people in the chat saying the same thing, people calling in saying he needs another pitch. And you know what? He's got now 2 other pitches that he's throwing with frequency. So, yeah, I am hyped to watch Carlos Rodon pretty much every time he pitches now. And I feel like he's going to have a good night tonight. I feel like he's emotionally at the point where he's not going to be overwhelmed by the big moment anymore. And we can count on him. So, yeah, big things tonight from Carlos Rodon. Now watch him get shelled and make me look like a fool. All right, so Giancarlo Stanton. I've been thinking about him a lot for the last couple of days because he is coming back, and generally the Yankees lineup does perform better when he's in it, whether or not he's hitting. Now, he's a 220, 230 hitter at this point in his career at best, but he does have crazy power. Last year he hit 233, 27 home runs, 72 RBIs, and that's with his customary time off with injuries, 773 OPS, but then he went crazy in the playoffs, 7 home runs in the postseason, ALCS MVP. And because the Yankees tend to win more when he's in the lineup, you know that he's going to be in the lineup pretty much every day, right? He might get a day or 2 off per week just to maintain his health because he does have bad legs. I like to say, but Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs. I think of that every time I watch him run. But, he's also got the elbow stuff that he's coming back from, double tennis elbow. He's got a chronic calf condition. So they're not going to play him every single game. They're going to play him 4 to 5 times a week, and they're going to pick their spots. He's going to play against all the lefties. He's going to pinch hit against lefties, even though he's not a good pinch hitter for his career. But one thing that's very interesting is that he's going to be using the torpedo bat. Now, somebody asked the other day if he was using the torpedo bat in the playoffs. So I went back and I looked at some pictures, and I didn't see one. It looked like the normal bat to me. Now, Volpe's having a decent year with the torpedo bat. Not great, but better than last year. Austin Wells has been hitting better lately. But overall, he has not had an amazing year. He does have 10 home runs, 10 doubles. Goldschmidt having a great year using the torpedo bat. So I'm just very interested to see what somebody with Giancarlo Stanton's level of experience does, what kind of difference it makes, right? but he should give Aaron Boone another option, another dangerous option for the middle of the lineup against lefties. And yesterday I said the Yankees have struggled against lefties. And that might not be entirely true. Someone commented, well, they're top 10. You don't know what you're talking about. And to me, top 10 is still struggling. That is not where the Yankees want to be. Right? I mean, did Frank Sinatra say he wanted to be top 10 of the heap? Did he say he wanted to be in the top third? Top 10 is top third of the league. Right? Top third of the list in old New York. Come on. That's not good enough. We want to be top 2 or 3 at the worst, if not number 1. In everything. That's what Yankees fans expect. Now, I know it's not realistic to be number 1 in everything, but you can be top 5 in everything. And that's where we expect. So I do think we need improvement against left-handed pitchers, and Giancarlo Stanton is that guy. So I'm worried it's going to take him his customary month to begin hitting, but he is exceptionally clutch. We all know that. He carried us in the ALCS. He carried us to the ALCS and the ALDS, and he's one of the guys who did damage in the World Series. A healthy Giancarlo Stanton should be a net positive for the Yankees in terms of how dangerous their lineup is. That being said, his WAR is not as high as Ben Rice. Ben Rice has put up more WAR this year than Giancarlo Stanton did all of last year, or the year before that, or the year before that. But, you know, he definitely is an imposing force. Pitchers are scared of him. That being said, I want to ask something of the audience. And feel free to call in about this, and we'll maybe play him on the postgame show. I wanted to ask the audience this. If you could go back in time, right? Doc Brown shows up at your doorstep with the DeLorean, and he says, "Great Scott! We're going back to the 2018 winter meetings." And he's going to put you in a spot where you bump into Brian Cashman, who's on his way in. The deal is not maybe complete, but they're talking about getting Giancarlo Stanton. And you know what? You got a chance to make your case to Cashman. You know? Knowing everything he's done for us in the postseason, but also knowing the injury history has been bad enough to keep him out of the lineup as much as he's been out of the lineup. So you bump into Cashman as he's headed into the winter meetings and you say, "Brian, I'm from the future," right? Here's everything you need to know about Giancarlo Stanton. And Brian, he's like, "Oh, geez, man, this is heavy, man." And then he says, "Well, look, I got to go make a final recommendation to Hal Steinbrenner. You make the call. Should we get Giancarlo Stanton or not? Do you make the deal or not?" I think I would recommend no. I think I would say wait a year and sign Bryce Harper. Be a better deal. Lineup will be more balanced for a few years, and Harper stays on the field. And Harper can eventually, if you want, slide to first base. And he would fit right in. But I think I would advise not to make the deal. So, anyway, that's where we're at right now. Stanton coming back. Let's talk about the predictions for the game.
This was built by a wizard.
All right, so my pick for tonight, I got 2 picks in the game, and leave your predictions in the chat. I've got 2 home runs from Aaron Judge tonight. I think last night was kind of a really bad off day for him, kind of embarrassing for him, and I think he's going to come back strong today. 2 home runs. I think he had 2 home runs on last Saturday against the Dodgers, and I think he's going to do something similar tonight. And then Jazz Chisholm. I think he's going to hit a double tonight. Last night he was not in the starting lineup. He ended up coming in later in the game. Didn't do much, but I feel pretty good about the way he's been swinging the bat and his new approach. So drop your predictions in the chat. Let's go ahead and get to some final comments here. No sponsor today. This was an unplanned pregame show, so I didn't sell a sponsor for it, so you guys don't have to watch an ad. But we did get some voicemails, so I'll go ahead and play some voicemails. Let's start with this guy. We haven't heard from him in a while.
Hi, Derek. Simon Rosenthal
Simon!
calling from Bella Vista, New Haven, Connecticut. I don't understand what's wrong with Boone. I mean, Ryan Yarbrough, we give him a lead, he gives it right back to the Red Sox. And why can't these players learn to play through the pain, you know? I'm telling you, Volpe and why is he putting other people at third base? Put Jazz Chisholm back at third where he belongs, all right? Last year they were ranting and raving about him, Derek. Oh, he's such a great hitter. Look, he's a great third base. Put the guy back at third. I mean, how many days off do these players need? They get November off, they get December off, they get January off. That's not enough? Play through the pain and let's win this World Series. This is what I like to have played on the machine. Thanks, Derek. Have a good day. Bye.
Appreciate it, Simon. Simon, you're fun. I don't think Simon's ever called in and not let off with, oh, what's Boone doing? He's not a fan of Boone. And look, I didn't like Boone's lineup yesterday. We got a call also from Hugh from Bay Bridge who echoed that sentiment.
Well, good morning, Derek. This is Hugh from Bay Ridge in Brooklyn, and I thought that was the most atrocious lineup
It was bad.
Boone has ever presented during his managerial years. I mean, at third base, this guy Reyes, he can't hit, he can't field. I think I've seen him field one ground ball cleanly. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I got to say, he's nothing more than a mediocrity as a manager. I mean,
I appreciate the call. It goes on. He is not a fan of Aaron Boone as a manager. All right, we got some predictions starting to come in. So Rick Diaz says Rodon, 7 innings, 2 earned runs. We'll sign up for that right now. Lori C says DJ can pick up 3 knocks tonight. I'll sign up for that as well. He has been swinging the bat a little bit better than last year. You got to credit him that. I don't think the power is there like it was back in 2020, 2021, but he can still put the bat on the ball, and if he's elevating it over the infield, picking up some of those duck snorts type of hits, you'll take that. You'll take base hits. You'll take contact. Philly in NYC says 6-2 Yanks win. That would give them a series win. Info. It's like Nicky 2 times. I'm going to get the papers. Says Ben Rice, leadoff home run. Reminder to call in, 718-899-1068. Sniper Shot says 5-3 Red Sox. I hope not.
Just a bit outside.
And then, let's see. And then John the Beagle Dad says Volpe always wants to play through the pain. Yeah, you got to know the difference between, playing hurt and being injured. And I think that he got hit in such a way that his elbow wouldn't bend great. He had some swelling, and that can diminish your performance. And if you get hit again, it can really hold you back. So I think it's important to temper expectations. Guys in professional athletics are going to get hurt and miss games once in a while. There's not a lot of Lou Gehrig's out there. There's not a lot of Cal Ripken Jr.'s out there. So, hey, reminder, check out NYYDesigns.shop. We got all sorts of merch. Seeing the Aaron Judge stuff on your screen right now. And again, call in. We're going to have the series recap tonight and then the series preview of the Kansas City Royals coming up. And then the Yankees play Boston again in Fenway, and we should have Giancarlo Stanton back for that series, and that's fun because who remembers that grand slam that he hit in Fenway? He went crazy in a series. I guess it was 2021 against the Red Sox up there in Fenway. Grand slam that just I watched 100 times the next day, and every call, the Spanish call, it was amazing. But hopefully we get another moment like that, courtesy of Big G. I'll see you guys after the game. Always a pleasure. See you next. If you made it this far, do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and join our community. You can also be a part of the show by calling in at 718-899-1068. Also, part of the way that we maintain and fund all of this is through NYYDesigns.shop. Check it out now. Get all sorts of fun Yankees merch, hats, hoodies, zip-ups, beanies, mugs, you name it. We've got it. Check it out, NYYDesigns.shop. And check out Pinstripe Territory on all your favorite podcast platforms. We are the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We're here for post-game shows after every single game, and we're here before a lot of games to talk about the game, preview the lineup, the pitching matchups, and things like that. And we're here all off-season to talk about the latest in Yankees rumors, news, etc. Join our community. We'll see you next time.